I read 12 books in May, so let's talk about them. Hi everybody! Welcome if you're new here, welcome back if you've been here before. I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. I'm Sarah and I'm your hostess today. I'm gonna be talking you through the 12 books that I read in May. Hope you're excited because I am. This is a reading wrap up and yeah, that's all I have to say. I simply hope you're gonna enjoy this video and let's get straight into it. The first book I'm going to show you is actually a book, a type of book that I haven't ever read before. It's a manga. This book is spy friendly, and as you can see by the title, and I gave it 3 stars because it was fine, it was good, and I think a lot of people would really enjoy this book. But what I figured out while reading this book is that manga is not my thing at all. And I'm glad that I lended it from a library because otherwise I would have bought a book with my money that I wouldn't have really enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed it just fine, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped I would. So manga is not my thing. Like, the story, if the story was set in like book novel formatting, would have really enjoyed it, but it's not. It's manga formatting. So I think this is a great way to start reading manga, or if you have already read manga, you haven't read this one, I think this is a great one to start, but it's not for me. Okay, so next book I want to talk about is A Witch's Guide. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I had to shove myself to the side a little bit because otherwise you wouldn't have to be able to see the picture. So I give this book 3.75 stars. It was a fun read with some flaws to it that made it 3.75 stars instead of a 4-star. There were some things happening or some things that weren't explained, and I was like, will this be explained? But it wasn't explained. I cannot like sum it up right now, but I know right now that there are some things where I was like, that's confusing. Like, we haven't talked about that enough, or we haven't talked about that at all. So that's why I lowered the rating to a 3.75 stars instead of a 4-star. I felt like this book had a lot of potential, but it just didn't give for me. And I can definitely see why this book is good. I enjoyed it too, but it just wasn't like perfection. Like, it wasn't worthy of a 4-star rating, but I also did enjoy it, so it's not a 3-star rating either. Okay, I can sit here again. So I'm super glad that I picked this up. So it's The Visible Life of LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I read The Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab and actually didn't enjoy it at all. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I should have gave it 2.5 stars because I really did not enjoy it. So I give this book 5 stars, which is like a huge, enormous surprise to me because I thought, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to enjoy it, so I'm going to pick it up. But I enjoyed the crap out of it. If you're not into character-driven stories, this is not going to be for you. But if you're into that, if that is like your favorite thing ever in a book, this is like the book for you. Because this is amazing. Like, the characters were so... We talked about the characters in so much detail about all of the characters in this book. And this book is basically about LaRue, who made a bargain with the devil, or a demon, or devil, I think. And now no one will remember her, but she will live forever. Basically, that is the concept of this book. And it's how she lives those years living, well, no one will remember her after they met her. It was like amazing. The next book, A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is also a 5-star, like 2 5 stars in a row. That is a surprise because the last time I gave a book 5 stars was in December. So I'm very glad that I decided to pick this one up, and also The Invisible Life of LaRue. But this book was honestly so heartbreaking. Like, it ripped my heart into pieces. It shredded my heart into tiny little crumbs. Yeah, and then someone ate it up. Okay, so this is about Poppy and Rune. And Rune and Poppy have met at the age of 5, and now they have a relationship at the age of 15. But now Rune has to move back to Norway, I think it was, at the age of 15. 2 years later, he comes back. But Poppy and Rune haven't had contact since 2 months after he moved. He doesn't know why. She just ghosted him. But there's a reason behind it. yeah, you should read this book, but check trigger warnings first. Then I read The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. So I gave this book, let me see, I gave it 3.75 stars. It would have been a 4-star read if I had felt a connection to the male lead in this book. But I did not. Like, I felt annoyed towards him in some parts. So that lowered my rating pretty significantly. Because it could have been 4 stars, but I gave 3.75 stars because I didn't like the male lead. Which is disappointing because I really, really liked Hallie and I loved the dynamic that these two characters had. But I just didn't feel connected to him. Like, I felt connected to everyone else. But he was another story. I really thought I would hate this book, The Lesbians Guide to Catholic School. Really thought I would absolutely hate this book. And I do not know why, because this book sounds right up my alley, but it hits. This book hits in a different kind of way. Like, it just, So I gave this book 4 stars, and it got better and better throughout the whole story. At the beginning, I was like, I made the end of this. But then we got like a page further into it. I was like, okay, this is better. Page further, until I finished the book. And I was like, damn, this was a good book. This does have some romance, which is good, which I really liked. I really enjoyed the romance between these characters. Also, check trigger warnings, because that is what I always say. Check trigger warnings, because it's very important. But I really enjoyed the story. Also, look at the sprayed edges. That's so beautiful. Then we have Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is a small town romance. And this is a sequel to When in Rome, but it's interconnected. So it isn't like you could read them separately, the books, which I did, which I should have read When in Rome first, but I did not. But I read this book, which is the sequel to When in Rome. I should have read When in Rome first because there was a lot of talking and the characters out of When in Rome showing up in this book. But it's okay. Like, I still understood this book, like, completely, like, all of it. Took me a while to get through. I'm not sure how long. But this author is, like, Insta by author for me right now. Because this author writes good books. I read The Cheat Sheet, which I really enjoyed, and now I read this one, which I also really enjoyed. So should buy more books by this author. I was on a streak of reading sad books last month. So I also read If You Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm a super sensitive person, let me tell you. Like, I'm this most sensitive person ever. I cry when I see baby goats. I cry when, basically every time that I see something I like. I cried when my parents told me they would get married. My stepmom and my dad told me they were gonna get married. So, I'm a sensitive person. But somehow I only cried 5 tears during this book. And that is because there was too much build-up. Like, at the beginning, we get a little bit of an insight on what will happen in the book. And you are like a little bit like suspicious of what will happen. But then you only get to see what happens in the last 10 pages. And the rest of the book is just build-up. And for a book that is, I think, more than 400 pages long, or just under 400 pages, that is a lot of build-up. Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This is a precious book to me. It's actually not. I give it 4 stars. Like, the first I think half of the book was like worthy of 3.75 stars. Last 100 pages were like 4.5 star worthy. Let me tell you, really enjoyed those pages. And I think that was because it was set in the now timeline and not in the then timeline, which I have a lot of times when I read books with then and now timeline. I really enjoy the now timeline, but I do not really enjoy the then timeline. And there was more of a then timeline than the now timeline, which had like a part in my rating for this book, because if it had been the now timeline only the then timeline sometimes, or just like a few chapters, it would have been okay. But no, so that was disappointing, because it could have been 4.5 stars if it had only been the last 100 pages, but it was not. Still really enjoyed this, would still recommend it if you're into second chance romance. So next up, we have The Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrel by India Holton. I gave this book 3 stars, which doesn't mean it's bad at all, but I didn't enjoy the writing style, the way this book was written. Just not my thing. Honestly, just not my thing. Like, the story was right up my alley. Like, it was my thing. It was perfection. But then we came to the writing style and I was like, I'm not gonna like this book. Last 100 pages again were better than the first half, but I still gave it 3 stars because the writing style was just a huge factor in the fact that I didn't like this as much as I thought I would or hoped I would. Disappointing, but true, but still recommended, but not if you're into this kind of writing style, which is like kind of pretentious, but also kind of oldly written. I'm not sure how to explain it, but like kind of how Bridgerton was written, that's how this is written. Okay, don't be scared away right now. Don't be scared. I only read the first book in this trilogy because I got the full trilogy in 1 book. So there are 3 books in this 1 book, so it's 3 in 1, which is exciting. I read To Carve a Flay Hard by Sonia Odette. That is the first book in the trilogy, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.9 stars, which is a very odd rating, to be honest. But I felt no connection. Like, I have to feel connection to a rating when I give a book. So I felt no connection towards rating 3.75 stars for this book, and I also felt like 4 stars was too high for this book. So I chose middle ground, and I was like, 3.9 sounds good, so I gave it 3.9 stars. It says fairies in it, and it was good. It was good. It really was good. I wouldn't say I would recommend it right now, but I want to see if the story progresses more towards the 2nd book, towards the 3rd book, and I'm actually excited to start the 2nd and 3rd book. And then lastly, I read Christina Lauren's The True Love Experiment. Christina Lauren are 2 authors. That's all I wanted to say if you didn't know that already. I read a few Christina Lauren books before, and I really did enjoy those, except Something Wilder, which I really did enjoy, but not as much as I hoped I would. And this book felt like similar to Something Wilder, the way I rated it, the way I thought about it. Fine, but not what I expected, honestly. I give this book 3.5 stars because it was fine. It was enjoyable, but it just didn't hit the same way other Christina Lauren books did to me. So 3.5 stars, still a very solid rating, but not as much as I thought it would be. This has like reality TV show worked into it, which was done very well, very carefully, which absolutely adored that. But I missed something, and I do not know what it is. So those were the books that I wanted to talk about. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the wrap up. Hope you may have gotten some recommendations out of this. Who knows? Yeah. So I hope I'm gonna see you later. I hope you may like this video. I hope you may subscribe to me. Hope you may comment if you want. And that's all I have to say. So goodbye and see you later. So bye-bye.